Grand Rising. Okay, so I came in my car so I can make a video because like I feel like the kids are really loud. I need to talk. So this is baby Essence. Yes, one of the first babies I made. And I think I told you guys about all the crystals I put in her. I put Amazonite, black tourmaline, rose quartz, selenite, and lepidolite. And she is a sweet baby, so sweet. And lavender. I like to hold her close to me because like honestly, like the lavender scent, it really calms me down. And like I feel like, okay, so the babies I make, right, because I make them with spiritual guidance, right, and they're really working for real. Because if you see me, if you know me in my real life, all I do is stay with these dolls because I don't know, it's like I used to buy Reborn babies from like artists, which I do plan on doing still, because you know I'm gonna get me a Claire Taylor doll. I'm going to. But I don't know, for some reason I think it's the lavender, because there's so much time sometimes where I'm like anxious or I'm like overstimulated, and I find that the lavender really helps. Or just holding her close to me while I rock, I find it very soothing. And like I don't know, it could be the energies too from the crystals. I find her energy extremely soothing, and yeah, she's been really helping me a lot. So I always keep her close to me, like really close. And I hope that my goal is for the babies to have the same effect on the people who purchase them. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about today was the delusions that we have about motherhood, like, you know, versus the reality. Because I think that's very important. And a lot of people, like, we don't really talk about these things, right? Especially because a lot of us have a false sense of reality when it comes to motherhood. Like, I know for myself, I can say so I became a mother at 15, the week before I turned 16, right? My son is born March 4th and I'm the 13th. And I, for some reason in my head, thought that because I was a young mom, yes, I know this was my thinking, but remember, I was 16, I was 15, my brain wasn't developed. So I thought like that it would be easy. I thought that because I was a young mom, I could relate to my child and we'd be so close and it would be so easy, and I wouldn't have to go through these struggles that other people are talking about. But you know, as a child, you're not really thinking and you're not really seeing reality for what it was, right? For what it is. So as you grow with those children now and the children start to act out and misbehave, it then becomes like a big shock, you know? It's like shaking up your reality because you never expected it, right? And I think that's the issue that a lot of moms are facing right now, because I remember when my son was young and I was dealing with certain things, there would be so much judgment. Like, you know, you would hear people say, oh, my kids would never do that. I slap my kids know better. My kids are disciplined, right? But I keep telling these people, like, you slapping your child has nothing to do with discipline, right? That has nothing to do with what your child would or would not do, right? But they didn't seem to believe it, which is why I'm making this video right now, because it's like a repetitive thing. Because remember, I had my baby young, right? So everybody else that grew up with me are now having kids, and their kids are now getting older, so they're now in the phase that I was a while ago, right? So now their eyes are starting to open up and they're starting to see all the judgment they placed when it was me going through it, right? And so now as they run back for my help, you know, all I could try to explain is that, you know, each child is born into this world with their own journey. Yes, we want to kind of stop them from going down certain paths because they're our kids and we love them, but they're born here with their own journey, with their own things with their own energies to transmute, you know, with their own problems that they came into this world to learn, and to learn how to fix or learn how to, you know, transmute that energy into a more positive energy. You know, we all come here to learn, right? So I try to tell them, you know, like, not to take it too personally, because I know it's unrealistic. The mindset a lot of moms have is really unrealistic. It's unrealistic for us to think that our kids are going to come out. Like, I thought my son was going to come out being a scholar, honey. Like, yes, sitting down and reading books at like 2, big books, never wanting to watch TV. And instead, every time I brought up books, my son would be crying. This is the opposite. The other day, I was talking to him. He's a teenager, mind you. And you were talking, I was telling him about all the delusions I used to have about how I wanted him to read and stuff like that and do all these different things, which I still make him do, because I mean, like, you have to read. But he was like, Mom, lower your expectations. I'm like, what? Who says that? You know, we want our kids to be the best versions of themselves. Like, we don't want our kids to struggle, right? Or to suffer. Like, I want to make sure that if anything happens before I leave this earth, I set my kids up in a way that they are fine and they're okay and they have skills of their own. You know what I mean? So they don't need to go beg nobody for nothing. Because I think, like, that's how a lot of moms get themselves into this predicament, the situation that a lot of us are in right now, where we have kids for these men and we expect the men to help because that's what they show, like on TV and in fairy books, like, oh, Prince Charming is gonna come sweep you off your feet and he's gonna help. But the reality of it is that when you have these children, whether you're in a relationship or you're not, okay, because there are people who have been married for years, decades, and the moment a baby comes into the relationship, or a few years later, whatever it may be, the man decides to leave, or the mom, you know, and then it's like it becomes this thing where the child doesn't see one parent because, you know, the other parent decided to like check out of it. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the responsibility is placed solely on that one parent, right? And so when that responsibility is placed on that one parent, now that parent is now dealing with a whole bunch of energies being thrown at them at one time, right? Because now they have to think about the bills, they have to think about themselves, and they have to think about the child, they have to think about, you know, how to put the child's needs before theirs, they have to think about all these different things, right? Which most of the time the other parent doesn't really care about, like doesn't care about, you know, and that's unfortunate, but it is the reality, okay? And it's like at first, I try not to say too much because, you know, I don't want to really like project on people and speak from my experiences. But my whole thing is that it's so much woman. Like, it's not like I just have this conversation once a day. I have this conversation, like, let's say if I'm talking about this right now, someone will call me tomorrow with the same problem. Someone will call me later. Someone will call me the day after. You know what I mean? Like, it's always the same story, the same messages, because a lot of moms, they're in shock. Utter shock and disbelief when their kids start to act out and how to deal with it, right? Especially boys, because boys tend to act out in an aggressive manner at times. I think around like ages 9 to 10, I noticed. Or I've heard of some kids, you know, started 8, 9, 10, 11, around those ages they start. And it's not easy, right? I feel like we should be a lot easier. We should have more empathy for moms in general. Single moms are dealing with so much on their own, a lot of the time without support, right? And they're just being judged by society daily, judged by their friends, judged by their relatives. And the thing about that is they're already judging themselves. Like some of the messages that I receive from friends or acquaintances, like, you know, people that reach out to me to tell me their story or whatever, because I've shared mine, so people feel like they're able to tell me theirs now, which I'm open to listening. And it's always the same thing, you know what I mean? It's always the same people. Oh, it's always okay, let's use that as confirmation. It's always the same people, you know. It's always people judging them, people making them feel bad, you know, and they're already judging themselves. They don't need your judgment because they're judging themselves, right? It's kind of like how my relative shunned me when I had my son, right? And then they sent me away to live in a shelter and gave my brother my piggy bank and gave everybody all my stuff. And, you know, I was already suffering. Like, I was already living in a shelter at 16 with my son. I already couldn't afford even 25 cents to do laundry. I was already having a hard time, right? So you kicking me when I'm down, like, what is that about? Like, you know, I think that's really, like, extremely low vibrational, right? Instead of kicking people when they're down, we should be lifting them up, you know? We should be lifting them up, like, for real. So it's like, I feel like we should have a lot more empathy for moms. Feel and see what they're dealing with, because just because your life is easy doesn't mean the next person's is easy, right? They have it hard. And then a lot of times I notice that women who are in relationships with men will envy the single moms because they're doing things on their own. But my whole thing is for you, love, if you are watching this and you're one of those people that are envying us single moms that are working hard to provide for our kids, there's no reason for you to envy us. We're doing what we have to do. We are not given a choice, okay? There is no choice. It is survive or sink. So obviously we're choosing to survive, okay? And the jealousy being thrown at people who are trying to survive, like, and then trying to comfort, like, it's very weird energy. And it's so much single moms that have so much stories they can tell about women who are in relationships trying to bring them down, right? It's very odd behavior. Yeah, the realities of motherhood versus the delusions. Just like the realities of it is like these kids are on their own journey, so they might not be perfect in your eyes, but they are perfect in their own way, right? Because they did not come here to do what you want them to do. They did not come here to be who you desire them to be, right? Which is a perfect example of me and my son, because he told me, like, stop, because I thought he was going to be reading every day. You know, Carlton? That's what I was looking for when it was, yeah. So, you know, and he just laughs. Like, every time I try to tell my son, like, what I was expecting from him, he just laughs so hard. He thinks it's so funny. He's like, Mom, you thought we were just going to read books all day and no TV? What? I was like, I didn't even have a TV growing up, and I'm clearly fine. We can do that too. Like, because I grew up with my grandparents, right? So we didn't have a TV. I'm used to reading, and I'm used to the quiet, right? But this is a different time, right? Motherhood is great, but it's great when you have support, right? It's great when you have a village. It's great when you have help. I do it on my own, and it's still great, yes, because I tell myself every day, I'm like, Lucretia, don't be overstimulated and stressed. Even though I can't tell myself not to be overstimulated, I just get overstimulated because it's 5 of them and 1 of me. But I don't want to miss out on the moments, you know? I don't want to miss out on these teeny moments, like my 2-year-old so sweet and so cute, and the little troublesome things that she does. Oh, I don't want to miss out on it, you know? So I try to live in the moment and not take my anger out on them, or, you know, because I know it's a painful situation. I don't want them to feel anyway. I always tell my kids, like, you know what? We might be suffering now, but mommy's going to find a way to get us out of the situation, and we're going to be living our best lives. Yes. Like, even look at my hair. My hair's growing. Like, remember when it was so little bit, you guys couldn't even see it? Look at it now. I can even catch it up in a little ponytail if I wanted to. A little something here and put one here and here. Yes. I'm even getting hair. Okay, guys, for real though. Not trying to be silly, because the babies are like at the window watching me. So I'm trying to go back in right now. But yeah, like, you know what? Enjoy your kids, single moms. Enjoy your kids. Live your best life regardless. Like, I'm trying to now learn how to incorporate my days with the kids. So I'm trying to learn how to paint while watching the kids, you know, still doing the things I love to do while including the kids, because I make my daughter paint with me, and now I'm gonna get my older son too. Well, love and light, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. I have so much more babies I'm going to be making. I'm going to make a pyrite baby. I've done this. So I channeled the other night, and I closed my eyes, and I was given some babies to do with specific energies. Those babies will be going to their mamas. But I didn't order them yet. I didn't paint them yet. So I'm going to paint them. I'm going to order them this week and paint them. And then I'm going to root, and then I have to get a whole bunch of crystals, you know, because I want to do like individual crystal babies, like pyrite for one baby. Ooh, then I have a lucky baby with a lucky combination of stuff that I'm going to put in. So yeah, I'm trying to like give different types of energies towards my babies. So if you don't want to, let's say if you already feel quite calm and you don't have anxiety like me, right? I'm going to pyrite baby, welcome some money into your life. Yeah. Let's say if you have problems sleeping, I can give you a little sleep angel baby, knock you right out. Like, she's like a little sleep angel, right? With her lavender and everything. And I really do be knocking right out, because her energy, like, she just has a soothing presence. Like, it's like when you see when you guys get the babies, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, the presence, it's like there's just something different about them than the other reborns I used to get. Like, the ones I used to buy from people, they're so sweet and so cute, but I've never had an attachment to them like this. I've never had one like this. Like, it's like I always have to smell her for the lavender. And then sometimes when I could just smell the lavender, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just have to hold her closer. For reals. But yeah, I'm putting different energies in the babies. Like, what do I have in? Oh, it's because it's on my other phone. I have luck. I have rose quartz. So that's a love baby. I have amethyst baby. And I was thinking to do like and I had something with the no, that one was for me. No, but it's okay, that I can like make a tiger's eye baby, you know, like protection. Oh yes, I have a protection baby. She's gonna be like he's gonna be like a protection angel. And then I have a sleepy time one, you know. I'm trying to make different versions, and I'm gonna have different babies that I put different assorted crystals in. So There's a whole bunch of different things I'm trying to experiment on right now. So stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching my video, guys.